Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue.
Oh, flex. Buckle up and join the best. Let Citi relieve your stress. So yes, let the music soothe your soul and keep it going just to refresh. Buckle and enjoy the ride from 2 to the half of the 5. Mondays to Fridays happening live. Where we gon' have a ball, you can text your guys. Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. Are you ready for the Traffic Avenue? Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. An applause for the Traffic Avenue.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, Traffic Avenue, oh yeah. Welcome to the Traffic Avenue.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. Citi News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Citi News.
It's 17:30 GMT. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umaru Sanda Amadou. Tonight, I'm here with
Akusia Otre.
And coming up over the next 90 minutes, the Court of Appeal overturns a decision by the High Court to start afresh the trial of Dr. Opuni and Seidu Agongo. But tonight we ask, what happens to the concerns raised by the trial judge over the lack of confidence in the ongoing case? Also coming up, should James Jachikwesin's trial, and I'm referring to the criminal one, continue even after his re-election? The Domahini thinks otherwise. And later on Eyewitness News, the politics of roads. Residents of Ajekojo in Accra and residents of another community in the western region have been planning, well, one group planning to demonstrate, another group has been demonstrating, are in a poor shape and even giving government 14 days to fix that road. Else, no campaigning activities ahead of election 2024. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more of this and many other stories on Eyewitness News. And in business,
Citi classified among worst sports returns in Africa, having depreciated by 11.21% in first half of 2023. This is according to Bloomberg.
that's in 15 minutes. Eyewitness News is live across Ghana on a number of affiliate stations. We are across the globe on citynewsroom.com. We are also on YouTube and we are on Facebook. We are interactive. Join us on WhatsApp 0549 986 996. 0549 986 996. On Twitter, my handle is at Umaru Sanda. You can tweet at me using the hashtag CityNewsroom. You can also tweet at City973. Eyewitness News is effectively airborne from number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka in Accra. My name is Umaru Sanda. I'm here with Akosia Otri, who has a first story. And the first story has to do with a trial that appears to be never ending. It has to do with former boss of Cocoa Board, a number of other persons who were standing trial with him. That case has been ongoing and involved a legal battle involving the trial judge at the time, Justice Onyenuga, who has since retired. He has retired, but the case appears not to be retiring. Today, the Court of Appeal made a pronouncement that will change a lot about how the trial is going to proceed. Akosia, please tell us more.
The Court of Appeal has overturned a decision of the trial judge in the Opuni case to start the trial afresh. Justice Anochi Jima, who took over the case after the retirement of Justice Onyenuga, directed that proceedings and evidence laid under his predecessor be discarded to restore confidence in the trial. The state objected to the decision of the judge and filed an appeal. Attorney General Godfrey Ebuadame argued that the decision amounted to a miscarriage of justice. The appellate court today held that a trial judge erred by relying on irrelevant factors in taking the decision to start a trial from scratch. In an interview with Citi News, or to the media rather, after proceedings, Mr. Dame expressed satisfaction with the decision.
Indeed, the true position of the law is that it is actually up to the trial judge to make that determination. And the trial judge makes that determination based on factors that it considers necessary. And if the parties are aggrieved by the exercise of that discretion, the parties are entitled to lodge an appeal, which we did. And we felt that the matters that were relied upon by the trial judge were, with all respect to him, quite irrelevant, and therefore the proper thing to do, which is actually the most progressive step in the circumstances, was for the evidence to be adopted and for us to move on. And I think that it is actually a little bit backward, with all respect, for a trial which has advanced to this stage for another to be made, that we should start de novo. It will amount to giving the evidence twice. It will amount to giving any of the parties to the matter a second bite at the cherry. And I think that that is improper. My respectful view is that where the proceedings are advanced, where the parties have led evidence, and indeed a normal suspense and inconvenience will be subjected to any of the parties by an order for the trial to start. The proper thing is for the evidence to be adopted. I mean, what is there to fear? If a party conducts its case very well, and we feel that, yes, the proceedings that have been, evidence that has been laid is sufficient to warrant either a conviction or acquittal, the proceedings ought to be adopted. I've already initiated a bill for amendment of various parts of the Criminal Procedure Act of Ghana. The bill has already gone to the Judicial Council. The Judicial Council has considered it and has actually okayed it. And it makes provisions for adoption of evidence in clear terms by a trial court. It makes provision for a reform of the jury system. It makes provision for a trial day-to-day, which is actually the norm. And it is only in this country where trial, especially in relation to financial offenses, takes so long to conclude.
That was Attorney General Godfrey Ebuadame.
So a lot of issues there, but the Court of Appeal's decision is that the trial should not start afresh as had been decided by the new trial judge. Alfred Tuayebua is Deputy Attorney General. He is at the Ministry of Justice and Attorney General's Department. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Why did the Attorney General's Department decide to disagree with the trial judge's position? He said that he thought the case should try or be tried afresh because of all the issues that came up in the course of the trial. For instance, the judge was accused of bias. It traveled all the way to the Supreme Court. There was a time where he was removed, and I'm referring to Justice Honyenuga. Number of challenges had come up in the course of this trial. Indeed, the trial itself has not gone far. Number of rulings coming in, the challenges coming up here and there, and motions being filed. The new trial judge believed that in order to sanitize the case and to ensure confidence in the case, let's start everything afresh. Why did the AG disapprove of this?
Thank you very much. Now, in the course of trying a criminal matter in any court of law, when it comes to a case where there's a new judge, the new judge, when he takes over, has a discretion to either adopt or start de novo. But in essence, that discretion, such a judge is supposed to look at various instances. And in this particular case, it was our considered view that even though the judge had the power to exercise his discretion, looking at the various parameters, he erred. And that's the basis for which we filed an appeal at the Court of Appeal.
So discretion to be exercised by the trial judge. And in this instance, he believed, based on his reading of the case, that the case itself is tainted, and he believed that to sanitize it, start afresh. What factors did you consider as a department for which reason you thought that even though the judge had a discretion, he should not exercise it in the manner he exercises this time round?
Yes, I think one of the key points that the trial judge relied on has to do with the proceedings having been tainted. We argued that if you look at the evidence, and I'm underlining the word evidence, if you look at the evidence adduced in the trial, there was no point during the trial that we can say that the accused person raised an issue with whether the judge was writing the right evidence or not record the right evidence. The evidence was intact. So in adopting proceedings, it has been our argument that the trial judge is supposed to look at the evidence, properly so-called, but not other matters. Now, for example, there were issues relating to the trial judge being biased, not being biased. Motions were filed. All those motions were decided on by the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal. And in court, if issues are determined into their finality, then there's no issue again. If you raise an issue of bias against a judge, and then you go on appeal, after the Supreme Court says no, there's no bias on the part of the judge, it means that matter has come to an end. And for that matter, you cannot use it in subsequent arguments to say because of that, you may not want to adopt the evidence in that particular trial. That has been our argument.
How do you deal with public perception then? Because the decision, the challenges that we saw in the court, we traveled all the way to the Supreme Court, led to some level of public perception against the case. And indeed, even the accused persons themselves may have some perception of the whole trial. How do you cure that perception, having gone to undo what had been done by the High Court judge?
Yes, that is the beauty of the rule of law. In fact, I will never fault the accused person for taking up issues in court in connection with this trial because that is his right. His fundamental right to appeal against rulings that disagrees. The same way, the state also has that kind of right to appeal against decisions made by the court that the state disagrees. So for the past 5 years, the accused person has been filing appeals, applications, and I will not fault him because that's his right to do so. In this instance, the state will decide to activate its right to file an appeal, and an appeal was filed. And today, the Court of Appeal agreed with the state. So it is not as if someone is being unduly or unfairly treated. In actual fact, both parties have the right to file for a process at the Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court. And if you look at this particular trial, for the last 5 or 6 years, the matter has gone to the Court of Appeal, the Supreme Court, then we come back, it goes back, we go, we come back. And this is not the first time that a ruling of a court of law has been overturned on appeal. And so for that matter, if this matter has been decided today, the fact that the matter should be continued, it is not the first time, and we must all accept it.
Interesting. Now, while we are talking about the credibility and the challenges around this particular case, we have information that the trial judge whose decision was decided on today had actually been transferred. Is this something that you can confirm to us? And is there a possibility that the transfer has anything to do with his position? Because we are told that he is a quote and unquote no nonsense judge, and the state is not particularly happy with this position of his. And by punishing him, you've decided to transfer him to the courts in Kumasi. I know that that is not within the Attorney General's department to decide, but you are in the government. What do you know about this?
I am aware that judges in Ghana, some judges in Ghana have been transferred, including Justice Anochi Jima. The reason for which judges are transferred, as you said, are not within the domain of the government or, for that matter, the Ministry of Justice. It is a singular duty of the Chief Justice to decide that judges may be transferred from Station A or to Station D. And these transfers, as I have already stated, is not only in connection with one particular judge. From my reading, some judges have been transferred, including this particular judge.
And you can again convince the public that, and indeed the accused persons, that it has nothing to do with his tough stance on the case, which stance has been challenged by the states. And so people would only logically believe that that is why he was transferred, because he's not willing to play ball. How would you convince the public and the persons who are standing trial?
Yes, judges are supposed to be tough. Judges are supposed to give their decisions devoid of any other considerations but in accordance with law. If you disagree with the judge, the avenue is for you to appeal. If you disagree with the judge, you do not do anything to him. So in this particular case, this judge, in his wisdom, delivered a ruling which they say decided to appeal against. And in the wisdom of the Chief Justice, there is this decision to transfer judges, which has actually affected this particular judge. I do not think that his transfer has anything to do with the decision that he's delivered. He's been on the bench for some time, and I started to think that any Chief Justice may even want to go along that line, or that because you give decision A, I'm transferring to region B or region C. No. Maybe it's by coincidence, but I don't think there's anything connecting the two. The orders, the ruling that he delivered, and then his transfer. Not at all.
Very well. Thank you so much. But do you have any indication that the persons who are not happy with today's decision of the Court of Appeal may proceed to the Supreme Court on this matter, or this is the end?
They have the right to also appeal if they think that the decision delivered today is not something that they agree with. So, and as I stated, that is the beauty of rule of law. The Court of Appeal has delivered a ruling. They also may decide to appeal to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court also have a bite and then determine once and for all the state of this particular matter. So if they decide to exercise that option, we will not be surprised.
Very well. Thank you so much for your time and for speaking to us tonight.
Thank you.
That's Honorable Alfred Tuan Iebua, his Deputy Attorney General. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are broadcasting from Adabraka in Accra. My name is Umaru Sandamadi here with Akosia Otri. We'll remain in the courts because the Domahini's comment over the weekend has got everybody talking. It has to do with James Jachikwesi. Remember him? The guy who was elected on December 7, 2020 to represent the people of Asin North, whose election was challenged even before he was sworn in, which challenge led to a decision by the Supreme Court to say expunge his name from the records. He goes for a by-election, gets re-elected. We are told he'll be sworn in. Is it today or the day after today? Tuesday, we are told he'll be sworn in Parliament tomorrow. Now, the question is, there's a criminal trial against him on matters relating to perjury. Perjury means lying under oath. And this is when he swore that he owed no allegiance to any country in the past, but the courts have found that he owed allegiance to Canada as well as Ghana, which flies in the face of the constitutional provisions on eligibility to be elected a member of parliament. Now, there are calls for the prosecution or the criminal trial to be halted. One person who is leading that charge is a judge and a chief. We'll be playing for you what he said and the consequences thereof. Please stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
This is a bank, First Atlantic Bank. A shiny purple star to brighten up my day. First Atlantic Bank, refreshingly different services all day long. First Atlantic Bank, and it feels so cool. I know this is where I belong. Come on, everybody, this is a bank like no other. First Atlantic Bank. Follow me, let's go now. Let's go, let's bank. This is a bank like no other. Let's bank. This is a bank like no other. First Atlantic Bank.
First Atlantic Bank, refreshingly different.
You know, Papa, see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa! Papa! Bobo, so how's your engine now? It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Quartz and you can't feel better energy. Can't touch this. Actually, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that? Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched. Sancho Panza. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry. Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. We are also around the globe on citinewsroom.com. Let's talk about James Jachikwesi now. He was elected last week by the people of Asin North after a by-election was declared. Now, subsequent to that, a few issues that are arising, it has to do with whether or not the trial should continue against him, and I'm referring to the criminal trial that the state has against him. That has become a subject of debate. The Attorney General has been responding now. Osiadeyo Ajiman Bedu II is the chief of Doma, or the Domahini. Now, he has been speaking. He is a traditional leader, but also a high court judge, or a judge at the high court. He was speaking during the John Evans Atta Mills 10th anniversary commemorative lecture held in Sunyani on 1st July. And he said that the president, through the Attorney General, should file nolli prosequa, which means the state is no more interested in prosecuting a case as the law mandates. Let's listen to him make that statement directed at the president and get reactions from the Attorney General and more reactions.
Without prejudice to the outcome of a court case pending before the High Court, Accra, as a matter of urgency, I'm appealing to the President of the Republic, if he has any role to play, that trial should be aborted. The Attorney General should, as a matter of urgency, file a nolle prosequa to end that particular decision. No, somebody engineer, Mingu sabi. Mpaso bia e de bebra Ghana said damfo no ye be kwa prosecute no. Na sa odi ne gina court a. Na batu amani MP adwuma na obere na kwakwa. It's on this day. Na me catch say Samri you president. You know I love you. This matter cannot go on. Attorney General. Odame, prayer de share, bono de share. Shawumum, Coco Chasem, Yifrio.
So I don't know whether I should describe that as an instruction or an advice or a request, because if your chief speaks to you and he has spoken there to the Attorney General, who is this year of the land or a son of his land, I'm not sure how to interpret that, but he's also spoken to the president and said, let your Attorney General withdraw that case. That's Osiadeyo Ajiman Bedu the second. He is the Domahini, the chief of Doma, speaking at the 10th anniversary commemorative lecture. That's John Evans Atamil's 10th anniversary commemorative lecture in Sunyani. Today, journalists who spoke to the Attorney General Godfrey Dami on the Opuni case also asked him what his reaction was to this call by his chief. Listen to the Attorney General.
I'm not going to comment on it right now. I'll come up with a proper statement on the matter. And it will be in respect of all comments generally which have the tendency to subvert the administration of justice. I think that is very unhealthy for our democratic dispensation, and therefore we must not countenance him. I'll come up with a formal statement on it.
That's Attorney General Godfred Yeboah Dami. The Honorable Ayikwe Otu served as an Attorney General under the John Kufuor government. His immediate past High Commissioner to Canada for the Republic of Ghana. He joined us on the line for a quick comment on this. Plus, he's involved in the Alan Kwadwo Tramantin campaign. We'll talk about that as well. Honorable Ayikwe Otu, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you.
How are you doing, sir?
Here with you. Since I returned in 2020, I've never had any interview with Citi FM. So it's good if you have decided to come back.
It's because, you know, you are now, we call you Your Excellency, so we are careful in calling you. That's why. So fine, forgive us. No more.
I'm doing good.
Great. I'll talk to you about Alan Tramantin. You want him to be president of Ghana. We'll talk about that. But before then, you've heard the Domahini speak. He says, what's the point in continuing to trial James Jachi Kwizin? He was just re-elected last week. He's even yet to be sworn in. He'll be sworn in tomorrow, we are told. The Attorney General says he would come up with a response, a written response later. If you were the Attorney General, and again, I want you to handle this for us in two ways. As an Attorney General, you have political responsibility, which is a political responsibility to the president and to your party, and also the administrative responsibility as Minister of Justice. How do you navigate issues that are politically tainted like this one?
Well, in last week, I spoke with one of your sister radio stations. I made it clear that the Attorney General is also a Minister of Justice and a member of Cabinet. So what concerns the party and the government also concerns it. So it's not like an independent prosecutor, you know, who has been given a job to do, but he has a responsibility towards his party as well as to the government itself. So these are things that could be negotiated, you know, that, look, we have a constituency and we would like to win elections there. We've founded this man out of parliament on very good grounds because constitutionally he was not qualified to be there. Now, at the time that we found those papers, clearly he was not qualified. But afterwards, when his seat was declared vacant, he became qualified to contest because he no longer owed allegiance to any other country, which was the main point in the first case. Now we go for the by-elections and he wins. I don't like those people who claim that he has increased his number. He didn't increase. If anything, it came down. It was the same 17,000 something that he won the first fight, the same 17,000.
Yeah, but there were a few numbers. There were a few numbers extra, but let's not debate that. He has extra numbers.
I'm saying the percentage of 12% as against whatever he won with last time is the same. But in terms of the votes, it's the same people who voted for him.
Okay.
Even lower as far as I'm concerned. So now it's a matter of negotiation. If we want to win elections in the North next time, and we go on with this trial, and then we convict him, in the likely event that we convict him, and then he gets out again, we're going to go through another by-election, this time not with him. Now, what would the people of Asin North thinking of the MPC as a party? Would they be ever comfortable voting us into power, or would they decide that would never forgive us anymore? This is what we should be looking at, because we need the numbers, yes, we need the numbers. So I think you cannot claim that you are independent on your own, you are taking an administrative decision, and so you decided to enter a nulla procedure without reference to your party. I don't think it is politically wise to do so, because at the end of the day, if you give an advice which is not bought into, the best thing for you to do is to tender in your resignation. And this is Africa. How many people tender in their resignation? They would rather continue to be there with all the difficulties they're going to have. So, as a politician, I would not say that there is anything administrative in this matter. There's so much at stake, because we need that one seat if we can get it, and so you have to take that into consideration. That may be driving those who think that we should go all out, but the point is, what are the chances of annexing that seat when the people have shown their revulsion at people like what is happening to their MP, that we are depriving the MP of serving them? So it will be a good thing to enter a no-lie procedure and stop all this to show some more maturity. But you cannot, as an Attorney General, do it on your own. You are not independent. You are part of a whole. And remember that you are bound by a cabinet decision, cabinet secrecy. Even if you disagreed with the decision as of the time it was being taken, once it has been taken, you are bound. You cannot go out to say that, oh, I didn't support it. You are bound to support it. So if you ask me, what I would tell you is that there's a need for some negotiations, a broader negotiations, consultations on the matter for the future of the MPP going to contest elections in Asin North.
If you were the Attorney General today, you would have advised your president, not advised, but possibly mentioned to your president that, you know what, I think it's not worth it. Let's drop this case, but let the president decide. Is that what you're suggesting?
I'm not even saying president, I'm saying cabinet.
Well, I mean, but the head of the cabinet is the president, so
it doesn't matter. This is a matter which involves everybody. The party is involved. Seriously, we need one more seat. So everybody is involved. The president is a democratically elected president. Our cabinet meetings are democratic. I mean, you go around the table to sample opinions before you.
So I get a wider picture. So my point is that for you, if you were the man whose job it was to prosecute, if you were the one who had the authority to withdraw the case, you would hint at the members of your party and all interested parties that, listen, let's drop this case and prepare for maybe 2024. That's the political thing to do, you think?
Exactly.
Okay, what about the legal thing? There's this issue that if you let him go, and having agreed by the highest court of the land that he owed allegiance to another country, but he claimed he did not, the issue of perjury that he has sworn to, if you let him go, it means you have left, quote and unquote, a criminal to go. How would you deal with the legal side of things and the precedent that will be set that henceforth in the future someone can contest using false documents, but because they had an overwhelming endorsement by the population, you let them go through. How do you deal with that?
An attorney general is not bound to give any reason for entering an online protocol. So you don't need to give anybody any reason.
Now, I'm interested in the law.
There are so many online protocols that have been entered. Nobody gives any reason for entering an online protocol. Whatever it is that it could be that you are not getting your witnesses who will come and testify for you. Whatever the reasons are, you are not bound.
No, I'm not asking you to explain. I'm not asking you to. So my point is that in building,
I'm saying that what you are supposed to do is to enter a no-lie protocol. So long as you don't have to give any reason for entering the no-lie protocol, if you did all your consultations and you are okay with it, you can go ahead and enter the no-lie protocol. Didn't we send Aisha one out of this country?
We did, but as a servant of the law, would your conscience let you?
Please forget about conscience. I'm talking about politics.
I know. I think we've dealt with the politics. I wanted you as a lawyer now to speak. I remember when you appeared before the Supreme Court.
I have explained the truth to you already. I'm saying there are two sides. Again, let me emphasize that there's a difference between a civil claim and a criminal claim. In fact, the threshold for proving the guilt is beyond reasonable doubt, while this one is only on the balance of probabilities. So you can take all kinds of things into consideration and say that we will not even win. So long as there is some doubt, it's mens real. When you begin to measure it, I don't want to go into that because the case is pending. So please.
So let the politics.
The best way to go about it.
Let the politics supersede the legal.
You choose to do politics. That you see, the difference between Africans and developed country people is that they write their memoirs, and you see that in their memoirs they will tell you the decisions they took and why they took them. In Africa, we die with our memoirs. We don't tell anybody anything, and so this is a very good thing.
Please, while we are that,
the difficulty he was faced with and why he took a certain decision.
While we are that, please remember to write your memoirs. We would want to read about it. And before I move away from the legal issues in the court, today the Court of Appeal made a decision that overturned a High Court decision. The new High Court judge who took over from Justice Onyenuga said he wanted to start the Opuni trial de novo. The Attorney General's Department disagreed and went to the Court of Appeal, and that has been overturned. The High Court judge who decided to try this afresh thought that the case was tainted. The issue of believability became a problem, and credibility and all of that. So he thought, let's start everything afresh. What's your quick comment on that before we proceed to the politics?
Oh, there has been a precedent long ago that you see, when you always want to start new cases because a new judge has come into the matter, a new lawyer, blah, 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 it's not fair to the parties. So the best thing is let the parties decide on adopting the proceedings, and then they can proceed. So long as the parties can agree to adopt the proceedings. And it's far better to adopt the proceedings than to start afresh. You know how long that case has already taken. And imagine starting it all over again. It's still going to, a lot of judicial time. But remember that in practical terms, a judge may die who had finished hearing the case, but yet to give judgment. The new judge will take over the entire record of proceedings, to read it and give his own judgment. He doesn't need to have seen any instances. So it is a weak and lame excuse. That is number one. Number two, the Court of Appeal, that at the end of the day deals with the appeal record. I've not seen anybody. They just read the core facts and law and then apply them where the facts are such that they are supported by the evidence on record. They will not interfere with them. Where the facts are such that they are not supported by the evidence on record. They can be interfered with. So anybody can read a record. I have handled so many appeals that I never handled the cases at the lower courts. But it's only when they go to the appeal that the people rush and give me the record of appeal. And I started the record of appeal, worked on it, went on, and won my cases. So it's nothing. He can read it and just form his opinion about the witnesses and all that, and go on. Let's say from judicial side. I agree with the court of appeal.
Very well. Thank you so much on that. Now let's talk about Alan Kwadwo Kyerematen. He's a man who served under John Kufuor, went into that contest with Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in 2007. They don't make it. Tried, subsequently failed. This time around, he believes Edronisu. You are a former attorney general. You tried to be chairman of the party recently. It did not work well. But you are interested in seeing him be the torchbearer of your party and consequently the president of the republic. Why Alan Kyerematen and nobody else out of the lot?
Well, you know that you have a field and you can choose to support any of them. We have 10 aspirants for now, if my memory serves me. Right, 10 aspirants. You don't expect I have only one vote. I can ask my vote for only one person. You don't expect me to say that I'm going to, support more than one. So clearly, I must have to choose one. That one, in my view, is Alan. He has been loyal to the party, served in this party, served in, the position of Minister of Trade. He's paid his dues, and as you rightly pointed out, he contested with Nana when the 17 people went in for that contest, and nobody was able to cross the 50% line. Now, what happened that day is what informs people to keep saying that there is a tradition which must be followed, and it is the time. Now, look, in the first contest, it was Aduboahene and Kufuor. Aduboahene won. Later, when there was a need for a change, it was Kufuor that went. Then he was challenged by Nana, and he lost. But according to Nana, Kufuor came to him and told him that you are young. You let me finish my term, and it will be your turn next time. I will support you. Then comes Alan and Nana at Lagos. And then Nana, unable to cross the 50, we had to go in for a run. And then Alan says, no, let my senior brother go. In his acceptance speech, he says, look, this is what Kufuor told me the last time, that he's older than me, and he must have to do it according to our tradition. And you can come next time. So, Alan, it's your turn. I'm next time around. You would go. This is what we mean by that tradition. And as far as we are concerned, this is his time. It is the best man who stands tall amongst all the rest.
But the flaw in that tradition, according to critics, Honorable, is that if Alan really believed in hereditary or succession to the throne of the New Patriotic Party, he should not have contested Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo the number of times he did. He should have simply said, Edronisu, let Nana Addo go through. But he did not. On all occasions that the place was vacant, except in 2020, he contested the old man. So why should he say that that principle should play now because it has gotten to his turn?
Do you remember somebody called Adainimo?
Francis Adainimo. He's still in the race.
Yes. Well, before he came in, nobody gave him, or at the time he decided to run, nobody gave him a dog's chance, isn't it? But he surprised everybody by making a very good showing at the time. The next time he tried, he was told, now please, hold on. He said, no, you won't hold on. What happened to him? He's trying again, I believe, either the second or the third time. But that is where the the tradition comes in. And sometimes it's also to market oneself. Let the people know that you are still interested.
So he wasn't contesting to win. He was contesting to show the people that he is around. The times he did in the past.
That would be. I have not spoken to him about it. This is the time that I'm supporting him because I think it is his time. I was not in his campaign, the previous ones, but I'm only thinking about it. That look at Francis Dynamo. Well, he surprised everybody. I do recall that his next attempt, he was told that no, hold on, and he said no. He wanted to go. And he constantly has been going. So you have to look at the dynamics of the ground. Every election and its own dynamics. So we think that looking at the dynamics now, the best phase for us will be Alan. The best phase for us will be Alan. Other phases will give us problems.
Honorable, is it longevity that you look out for or competence? Because the question would come up to that when it really eventually gets to that. Is it the guy who can secure you the vote and the guy who has shown that he has worked for the party even though he may not have been in the party for the many years that you're expecting? Or you believe that it's a queue and you must wait your turn? And if that's the case, you would buy... or you would then end up falling in the hands of people who say that the New Patriotic Party is a party of Yenim Nufri Dada or Yenim Nufri Titi. And so if your father or grandfather was not in the party, you have no room in there. You are a Ghana. You know the contribution of Ghana people in the party. You know the contribution of Northerners in the party. Should people be voted for because of their father or grandfather or their longevity in the party, or it should come down to their competence and what they can do and what they stand for?
But who says Alan is not competent? He has shown his competence. He saved the party by saying that I'm not going to go into a second round with him, let him go. That is the unity on his part. He's done a lot of work. He championed the AFCTA, the AFCA. As you know, Nkrumah has been talking about the fact that neocolonialism and imperialism is established as the best way is to unite and to trade among ourselves. That eluded in Ghana and Africa for a long time. Through his efforts, we've gotten in the headquarters in Accra. We've gotten some vehicle assembling plants in this country. All because he was then the Minister of Trade, including these paperless and things that you have at the airport, at the ports and all that, and the monies that they were able to break in. So he's shown his competence in many other ways. He's not the best to discuss others who are not here. He also have their programs. But I'm telling you that with the difficulties that are way now, it will be a better place like we had in Nigeria, bringing in a new face altogether.
Very well. Wish you all the best on the campaign and thank you for speaking to us tonight.
It's my pleasure.
That's Honorable Ayikwe Otu. He is a former Attorney General. He is Ghana's former High Commissioner to Canada, and he's a member of the Alan Kwadwo Tremantin campaign team. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We have some other stories, don't we, Akosia?
Yes, we do.
And before you share those stories, let me just remind our listeners who are moving out of Accra, who want to know how they can listen to Eyewitness News, that we're on a number of partner stations on Nobia FM 98.1 in Nalerigu, Quality 88.7 FM in Garu, Radio Gaki 88.3 in Saboba. We are on Freedom 88.1 FM in Sogakopa, Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohwe. We are on Adwinpa 99.9 FM in Nkawie. We are on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. We are also in the Western region on Adwinpa 100.7 FM in Takwa, Beach 105.5 FM in Takrady, and Sky Power 93.5 FM also in Takrady. Akosia.
Now, the Member of Parliament for New Juamin South, Michael Kofi Otribefi, says government is on course to finish the 35-kilometer asphalting of Koforidua town roads within the shortest possible time. The Deputy Minister of Trades and Industry indicated that ancillary roads in the municipality will also see a major facelift as contractors who have abandoned sites are set to return to complete their work. In an interview with Citi News on the state of roads in the eastern region, Michael Kofi Ochubefi indicated that a good number of bad roads in the municipality will be fixed before the end of this government's tenure.
We are trying to do this asphalt overlay. We are trying to fix about 35 kilometers of asphalt road in Koforidua, which is on course. I mean, everything will be done to make sure that we'll be able to finish within the shortest possible time. And that is not the only road we are tackling. We are also looking at the ancillary roads. Those auxiliary roads in town, other roads that are also beneficial to the people. We are trying to fix all the roads. Engagement. I had one-on-one engagement with the president last 2 weeks, and he has given me full assurance. Myself and the president. Later on, I also engaged the president with the municipal chief executive and the constituency chairman. And the assurance has been given to us that he will make sure that these roads will be fixed. And so we are counting on his assurance. And also the good news is that last week, the roads minister also gave us assurance that he's going to pay the contractor on the Bugri, Apenka Road. So we are sure when those monies are paid, these contractors will also go back to site and they will continue. I'm sure by the end of this year, at least Koforidua will see some good lights as far as the road network is concerned.
Year of roads.
We will not say that because we have been fixing the roads. It is not that we left it unconcerned, but at least we have put some agency in it. It is something that we are doing. So starting from 2017, that has been one of the priorities of government, and we're on course. So it is not this year alone. It started from 2017, and we're on course. We hope before we exit power, in 2024, or when this government tenure ends, we'll be able to fix a lot of roads in the country, especially in the municipality, New Joburg South municipality.
That was Member of Parliament for New Joburg South, Michael Kofi Ochubefi. Now, the chiefs and people of Nyankrum and Boise and Shamar in the Western region today embarked on a demonstration over the poor state of their roads. The demonstrators blocked the main roads to Nyankrum and Shamar, causing heavy vehicular traffic. According to the protesters, authorities have failed to fix their roads, although they host important national installations such as the Abuaji Thermal Plant. In an interview with Citi News, the Queen Mother for Nyankrum, Nana Akosua Jemfiaba, said the situation is affecting them negatively.
For almost 8 years now, nothing, absolutely nothing has been done on our roads. They said year of roads, 2020, 2021, 2022. We didn't experience anything. We didn't get anything, not even half a kilometer of road, nothing, absolutely nothing. We are singing our songs. We are singing our own songs. Now we are singing our own song. If they don't hear and they come and do the needful, they come and do the rightful thing, we'll take another action. Because this demonstration will go on and on and on and on. We are not stopping because we are tired. We are fed up. We are just fed up. Look at our district capital, from Shamar Junction to the district capital. Look at the road. So bad, so shameful. Why? When the president comes to Shamar, he passes on that road. Regional minister passes. Everybody passes on that road. You go to the district assembly. Why have you neglected us? What have you done? Are we not part of Ghana? Are we not Ghanaians? Are we not even the Western region? Pregnant women get miscarriages. Why? Why? Are you also reducing our number? You don't want us to go. Then when it's election time, you want numbers. But you are killing our people. How can you get the numbers?
That was Queen Mother for Nyankrum, Nana Akosua Jemfiaba. Meanwhile, the demonstrators expressed disappointment with the unavailability of the district chief executive of Shamar, Ebenezer Dadzi, to receive their petition.
We are not surprised that our MP, our DC, or coordinating director, none of them is here. But the kind of torture, the kind of pain they've made us go through, that has pushed us to embark on this demonstration. Had it been that they had come forward to give us information, to let us know that indeed it's in the pipeline, they are working on it, we wouldn't have come this far. We think that it's about time we took the bull by the horn. That is why today we are here. Yes, there were unpleasant scenes between the police and the demonstrators. We were having peaceful demonstration. But when we were coming from Yenukrom to Shamak Junction, there was no policeman. But we were able to conduct ourselves properly and well. We were well organized until we got to Shamak Junction when the drivers have decided that no car should move. When we got there, the police allowed some taxi drivers and trotro to move. That infuriated the drivers, and they confronted the police. Why did they allow them to move? Then the tear gas exploded, and then people said they've shot gun, blah blah blah, and that brought the confusion. It's not good, but it is also to protect the police.
Queen Mother of Shama Nyankrum Nana Akosia Jimfiaba. Let's still stay on roads because a group identifying itself as a concerned citizens of Ajay Kojo has threatened to prevent the Member of Parliament for Tema West, Carlos Ahenkra, from embarking on any political activity in the area, citing the poor state of their roads. The group has further indicated its plan to organize demonstrations should government fail to meet a 14-day ultimatum to make the roads motorable. Speaking at a press conference to amplify their concerns, convener for the group, Evans McCarthy, has been highlighting the negative impact of the impassable roads.
The Ajay Kojo Kano to Global Town stretch west, Ajay Kojo to Sun City stretch, and the Sun City to Global stretch west, and then Global to Solomon City stretch. Bad. And other Ajay Kojo Township roads. We therefore plead with the government and the municipal assembly not to trivialize this issue and to start work on these above-mentioned roads as quickly as possible. However, failure to heed to our request will mean that they are inviting us to hit the streets in the name of demonstrations 14 days in order to drum home our grievances. Finally, we the concerned citizens in this community have also resolved not to allow any politician, especially the Member of Parliament for Tema West constituency, Honorable Carlos Ahenkra, to come to Ajay Kojo and its adjoining communities for any political activity. In this upcoming, in case they turn deaf ears to our plea, we have no option than to hit the road with a demonstration.
Evans McCarthy is the convener for the concerned citizens of Ajay Kojo in Accra. Away from that, President Akufo-Addo says his government is determined to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goal 6, which requires all subscribing countries to ensure access to water and sanitation for all. The president made the remarks at the commissioning of Phase 3 of a water project in the Volta region. The project provides potable water for a population of over 89,000 people from the Adaklu, Agoti-Meziope, and Central Tong districts. President Akufo-Addo in his address said the government will ensure that the lack of potable water in rural Ghana becomes a thing of the past.
The focus of government is to ensure that all regions across the country are provided with adequate, safe, affordable, and reliable water services. We're also committed to ensuring that we practice safe sanitation and hygiene by the year 2030, in line with the attainment of the 2030 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Our strategic goal is to use a multifaceted approach with emphasis on governance and sector institutional strengthening to accelerate access to equitable water services throughout Ghana. Regarding SDG number 6, which demands that we provide clean water and sanitation for all, the Akufo-Addo government has made significant progress towards this objective. You may recall that at a ceremony at Amejofe in the whole West District, on the same day I cut the soil for commencement of the 5 districts water supply project. I commissioned completed projects under the water supply improvement project of the Ghana-Spain debt swap development implemented by the Community and Water Sanitation Agency, CWSA, and a total cost of $3,780,000 United States dollars for a beneficiary population of 75,000.
That was President Akufo-Addo. Now, way to education, the Commission for Technical and Vocational Training, TVET, says it will deploy a test serialization system in its upcoming 2023 Certificate 2 exams for technical students slated for July 10 to August 4. The test serialization will generate different versions of the same questions but with different positions of the test items, options, and keys on the question papers. Speaking at a media briefing, the Director General of the Commission, Dr. Fred Che Asamoah, said the system will reduce issues of cheating and leakage of exam questions.
We want to make sure that our learners in the TVET sector are fully prepared for the job market, because they will have to make decisions that will get to do with the life of all of us. And some of the characteristics of this serialization will be easy to test students with different versions of the same test or the same set of questions. It will allow the same test item to be administered at different examination centers. It will produce consistent and comparable scores and measures the same content and construct within each particular year. It will encourage teachers and learners to do effective teaching and learning in schools before examination. We all know that mostly when it gets to the end of a year, when there's examination, some instructors or learners wait to buy questions from fake website, from some of them you can hardly describe what they do, forgetting that the person that is writing exam could be the person that will be building his next building, or that same person will be the one that could be taking part in whatever process during the time of surgery. So we want to make sure that we encourage teaching and learning prior to examination. It's also easy to administer using the same instructions, directions, and duration. It will ensure fairness, test security, and integrity of certificate. It will reduce perennial leakage of examination papers at examination centers. It will discourage candidates from relying on APO, scammers, and fake questions from the social media platforms.
Director General of the Commission for Technical and Vocational Training, TVET, Dr. Fred Che Asamoah. Now, the Nanumba South District Security Council in the Northern Region has directed feuding factions in the Luni traditional disputes to cease fire. This follows a meeting between the council and the factions. The clashes left residents fleeing the area and the deployment of security personnel to maintain calm. 2 persons were subsequently arrested. Providing an update to Citi News, the chairman for DISEC, Zakaria Isifu, said the leaders of the various groups have been charged to use appropriate channels to address their concerns.
When they all decided to throw caution to the wind, we walked to the scene of self-destruction. And that happened. So when we brought them, essentially, we made them to understand that they were culpable. They could not absolve themselves from the difficulties they have thrown the district and Lungi specifically into. And all the popular, the negative reasons we have become popular. We told them they were responsible. So we're not giving them chance anymore to hold anybody to ransom, but to tell them that they should use the appropriate channels, the right package to seek redress for their chieftaincy matters. But that chieftaincy matters do not lie within the ambit of DISEC. So we're only to facilitate the process and nothing else. So if they go home and they refuse to follow the right channel, using the appropriate structures, they should not blame anybody if anything bad happens to the leadership that we have always engaged in our discussions, expecting them to relate the same information to their followers, to stay calm and be civil in whatever they do. So essentially, that was what we told them. And since then, we have not had any negative development from the area. That has even prompted us to review the number of police presence in the community.
Zakaria Isifu is the chairman of the Nanumba South District Security Council in the Northern Region. Meanwhile, the two persons who were arrested for their alleged involvement in the disturbances have been granted bail.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
This July, get up to 50% off Electroland Ghana Limited products. Massive Discount Bazaar is on again. Get massively discounted electronics and home appliances
from Electrolux, Samsung, Media, ABB, Nasco, Homeland, and good news, Toshiba is having a clearance sale.
From Friday to Sunday, 7th, 8th, and 9th of July, 9 a.m. each morning at Coca-Cola Roundabout Spintex. Items are a mixture of brand new, slightly used, scratched, showroom display, repaired, and dented.
Call 050-315-9739.
EGL, home of electronics and affordable luxury.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Hello and welcome to Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, brought to you by your most comprehensive business news website, citibusinessnews.com. Let's settle for the details. Ghana's local currency has still been classified among African currencies with the worst spot returns. This is according to a Bloomberg report. On the World Currency Ranker, the Citi's performance placed 17th, depreciating by 11.21%. However, financial analysts in Ghana are still projecting further stability of the Citi after Ghana received the first tranche of the $3 billion IMF bailout. Economist and currency analyst at GCB Capital Limited, Courage Buti, has been speaking to Citi Business News.
Generally, so far in 2023, the Citi has been relatively stable compared to what we knew from 2022. Last week, it was relatively more stable on the interbank market, fairly stable on the retail market. I think it gained some pesos really and closed the week. But from now going, it will be more of that relative stability around the levels we see now. Those are the levels we could see it in the next few maybe days and weeks ahead of us until something extraordinary happens again on the market that changes the dynamics. We are still very much in that junk territory and still at the distress levels really, so it doesn't change so much. You would see movement around the current levels. We are approaching July, August periods really, and if there is a sense of cocoa loan coming in, if there is a sense of maybe we approaching another IMF disbursement and all of that, those could be significant that can move the Citi.
That was economist and currency analyst at GCB Capital Limited, Courage Buti. Now, some oil marketing companies have reduced prices of petroleum prices slightly following a marginal drop in the first pricing window of July. The reductions can be attributed to the fall in the price of gasoline and LPG. Earlier projections are that the depreciation of the Citi remains insignificant to the price of fuel at the various pumps. Here's Duncan Amwa, the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, speaking to Citi Business News.
I can confirm that pump prices are indeed going to ease slightly for the first window in July. This will be as a result of international trading numbers, which as I speak with you, have seen a slight decline in the prices of gas oil. Gasoline did a little upward of less than 2%. The Citi has been relatively stable, although there's been some marginal depreciation. Give or take, you could get about 10 pesewa, 12, 15 pesewa reduction on both petrol and diesel for the first window in July. LPG prices, we also would expect would rather stay stable, not likely likely to be any changes in the due to one, international market prices, and then again the forex position as we speak. So I would be expecting that maybe by close of day, some of the OMCs would have adjusted prices downward.
Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC, Duncan Amoah. Finally, the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Managers, in collaboration with accounting firm KPMG, has officially launched the Human Resource Outlook and Benchmark Survey today. This comprehensive survey aims to address various aspects of the human resources landscape. The CEO of the Institute, Dr. Ebenezer Agbeto, expressed his anticipation regarding the survey's findings, emphasizing its potential to combat issues such as salary inequity.
For sure, where employees are not properly motivated in terms of salaries or other benefits, naturally they will feel badly done with. Hence, giving out their best becomes a challenge. So therefore, if authentic, information on salaries or benefits are made available industry per industry, and I'm really emphasizing on this because every industry varies from the other, and what they can afford also varies from one place to the other. So when this information are made available, then it will have to be compelled to look at it and see to it that at least you must be seen to be paying the bare minimum, whereby employees will know that for nothing at all, our employer.
Dr. Ebenezer Agbeto is president of the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Managers. And that's it for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. It was powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citibusinessnews.com. My name is Akosia Otre. Up next is Point Blank.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
You know, Papa, see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa! Bobo, so how your engine now? It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Cause and you. Can't feel better energy.
Can't touch this.
Actually, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that? Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz. And he switched. Sancho Panza. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry. Chairman. Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
a conscience. You can't buy conscience. When you give somebody money for fuel for coming to see you, don't ever equate that to buying a conscience. Because if a constituency chairman drives his car and it costs him, let's say, 500 cedis in and out, you want that to be his cost? For coming to where you said there's going to be a meeting. He doesn't have to come to Koforidua. So he drives to Koforidua and his cost for in and out is 800 cedis. You think that it should be his cost or it should be your cost, the one who organized it?
If the person is a die-hard party member, the person should pay for that to come and listen to all the leaders who are
but that is not
putting
a party,
themselves up.
It is not a party activity. It's not a party activity.
It's a party activity. The party is looking for a candidate. And you have put yourselves up. The party supporter who believes that the party should progress should pay because the party pays dues. The party supporter pays dues. He should be able to pay for the transportation to come and listen to all the leaders and make a choice.
He pays who? The constituency pays who?
Sorry, say that again. I'm saying that the party executive pays dues already anyway. So he should be willing to pay.
Yes, but the dues he pays doesn't come to the dues he pays goes to the party.
I'm just saying that he's been sacrificing already, so he should be able to sacrifice and come and listen to you.
Let me ask you a simple question. Okay?
I will not answer you, but you can ask.
You are a journalist. Let me ask you. You are a journalist of Citi News. You have your salary that you pay, but if you are to go on rounds using your own car, you claim the fuel from the company, won't you?
I've already said I'm not answering, so
well,
proceed.
That's fine. That's what I run multiple companies, and that's what everybody does. Everybody who is paid a salary, when they use their own car, not company car, to do errands, they claim the fuel from the company because the errands they're doing is errands that in otherwise you would have given them a car to do. So I don't see how you expect it is. Look, there are two meetings, and let me give you a typical example. When the regional executive committee, which includes the leadership of the constituency, they meet maybe once every 3 months. If you call the constituency chairman, you call the regional executive, you call the regional secretary or the regional chairman, and he says, we are meeting on this day, so you can come and meet us. That one, you are being invited to a regional executive committee meeting, which when they come, they are going to come there to discuss party matters anyway. So when you go, how they go there is not your problem. So nobody expects you to give anybody anything. Okay? But when you call the region and tell the region that, on this day, please call all the chairmen and the regional executive to come and meet me, and you're saying that's a party activity, it's not. Why should they come and meet you?
All right. Thank you, and wish you all the best. We'll come back to you again in the course of your campaign to test the mood, and wish you all the best.
No problem, my brother.
That's Kojo Nsafwa-Poku. He is an NPP flag bearer aspirant. He went through vetting today at the party headquarters, awaiting the feedback from the vetting committee, but he says he's going on with his campaign. Another person who went for vetting today is the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. One of his spokespersons is Miracles Abuaji, Dennis Miracles Abuaji. He's a former municipal chief executive. You're welcome to Eyewitness News, sir. Hello? Miracles, can you hear me?
Yes, Mario, I can hear you.
Great. So the question is, the newspaper said the aspirants were going for grilling. Was your boss grilled today?
I don't know why they decided to use grilling, but if that's how they want to describe it. But I know vetting is quite a common thing that a lot of us know how it goes. It's the platform to really interview aspirants and ascertain how they qualify to even run for the positions that they want to stand for. I think it's a common practice. It's a standard activity that happens in several other places, not just the MPP presidential primaries. And the vice president subjected himself to the process of that.
At the end of the day, what was his assessment of his own performance and what was his assessment of the whole exercise?
I think vetting is not necessarily one that you mark yourself as to how you perform in terms of oratory or delivery. It's just to ascertain your level of qualification. And so what is key is what the criteria that the vetting committee is using. And basically, it's common knowledge that the party has a certain set qualification criteria that you need to meet Of course, you cannot be a CPP member and come and file to run for the flag bearer of the MPP. And so that needs to be ascertained at a veteran. If the requirement is that you need a certain number of party people to endorse, that is to nominate you to be able to run. The vetting committee has a responsibility to even verify and ascertain whether indeed the required number of party people who are supposed to nominate you have done same. So there are certain set criteria that the party looks out for who qualifies to run, first of all, for the office of the flag bearer of the party, and as to your readiness to actually go through that process. So that's what the vetting is about. So it's not one for you to say, oh, I delivered, oh, I performed. It's as to whether you check all the lists, whether you tick all the boxes as required by the party's rules and regulations.
So what next for the campaign?
The vice president is going to go back to his campaign. As you may be aware, the past few days he was in Greater Accra. He's had a very successful Greater Accra regional campaign period, and he's moving next to the Ashanti region in the next few days. And then we continue in the Ashanti region to engage the party people at the various levels to let them know why he believes he's the best qualified party person to lead our party into election 2024. So that's what is next, Ashanti region.
And the response, how has it been from delegates?
It's been quite overwhelming, and Umar, I'm sure you've been following. I mean, the reception that the vice president has received across the length of breadth of the country is quite overwhelming. In the Greater Accra, it was even more like a carnival in most of the constituencies that were visited, and people are not hiding their level of support for the vice president. They are showing open support for the vice president, and that's even more encouraging. And that also encourages the vice president to know that, okay, he is not in this alone, and that the people that he wants to lead are actually ready for his leadership, and it's quite inspiring. And that is spurring him on even more into the other regions.
Wish you all the best, and thank you for speaking to us tonight.
Thank you, Mario.
That's the Honorable Dennis Miracles Abuaji. He's former MCE and a member of the campaign team of Dr. Baumia, one of the spokespersons. And that's how we end tonight's edition of Eyewitness News, which came to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. I did this with Akosia Oche. Production by Bevelyn London, Kwabna Wilson, Sami Uyafi. Technical support from Daniel Kwashi. Edwin Kwakovi handled the new media side of things. Thank you for listening. We return tomorrow at 17:30 GMT. Up next is Samuel Atamensa with Footprint. Stay tuned in.